A while back, I told you about the heat, the traffic, and the cedar fever. That video barely scratched the surface. There are 6 things about Austin that catch people completely off guard. And I'm going to tell you about the week that our power grid failed and how we were filling up our bathtub just to be able to flush the toilets. If you're serious about moving here, you need to hear about these things before you sign anything on paper. I'm Shannon Green. I'm a realtor here in Austin. I've lived here since 1994 and have watched the city grow and evolve. If you watched the first video on this topic about a year ago, this is the follow-up that you need for it. The stuff that doesn't come up until you're deep into buying a house or have been living here for a few months. We're going to be talking about the grid failure that made national news and what it actually looked like in my house, the HOA questions that catch some buyers off guard, and just one of the roads that's under construction, but what it means for the future. And I promise it will be worth it. Thinking about relocating to Austin or the surrounding areas? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it down below. From top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things you might need to know before making the move. And the best part is it's 100% free. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment. I hope that helped. Let's start with the one that made national news. Texas runs its own power grid through ERCOT, separate from the rest of the country. And in February of 2021, that grid failed in a bad way during a major winter storm. I want to tell you what that looked like because I lived through it. Now, I do want to remind you, we don't have a lot of major winter storms, but when we do, Texas isn't as prepared as we should be. My house actually sits on a protected part of the grid because we sit near a hospital and a nursing home. So we were blessed to be able to keep our electricity, but we did lose water. We filled up our bathtub just to be able to have water to pour in the tank of the toilet to keep the toilets flushing, because let's face it, nobody wants to not be able to flush their toilet. We also, everyone on the street gathered up all the snow and the ice in the street and made a huge mound so that we could go out there with buckets and scoop it in case we ran out of water to put it back in the bathtub to let it melt and keep using it. We had a friend just down the road that didn't have electricity. That's how fortunate we are, because when I say people ran out of electricity, a lot of people didn't have electricity in freezing weather. And he came with his roommate and his dogs and stayed at our house. And when my husband went down to pick him up, that friend threw a banana at my husband and said, "Feel this." The banana was completely frozen and had been sitting on their counter in their house. That's how cold it was in their home. So obviously, a lot of people invited people into their homes to stay so that they could, the ones that had electricity. So as a community, a lot of us had people in our homes that didn't have electricity when we did. So houses were full in those situations. Now, I'm not saying all of this as a scare tactic. It's just what happened. Here's the part I want you to pay attention to. This is an ancient history. It's things you need to think about when you're moving here. When you're touring a home, find out if this house happens to be on the grid. Ask the neighbors. See what happened during the storm. Does the home have a backup generator if it's needed? Now, these events don't happen often, but when they do, they are real. So you kind of want to know when you're buying a house where you're going to land. And if you find a home that you love that might not be in that great area, know what your plan is when something like that happens. Okay, this next one surprises almost everyone that I talk to because it's separate from property taxes, but just as important. Central Texas can sometimes get some serious hailstorms, and insurance companies have taken notice. Some policies can come with a higher deductible for wind and hail on top of the regular deductible. The age and material of your roof can make a real difference in what you pay, and in some cases, whether an insurance company will even insure the home completely without it. I always tell buyers to get that quote first. And make sure you get it before you go under contract, of course. Even if you're paying cash, that insurance quote goes into your payment for your mortgage. So you want to understand all in all what you're getting into. Okay, now next, if you're picturing Texas as wide open land with no rules attached, a lot of those newer Austin neighborhoods will surprise you. Communities like Spanish Oaks, Rough Hollow, Headwaters, Wolf Ranch, Treviso, Sweetwater, Santa Rita Ranch, and Easton Park are all types of neighborhoods that have HOAs. There's a bazillion of them. This is just some on the list that I was going to talk about. When you're factoring in your payment, you want to understand the amount that the HOA is going to be charging, because that factors into your payment too. Those neighborhoods tend to have higher HOAs. The trade-off is you get great amenities, beautiful neighborhoods. So you really need to think about, what am I willing to pay to be in this type of neighborhood? Now I'm going to tell on myself for a second. We moved into our home about 20 years ago. Yes, I have stayed in the same home for 20 years. We had been living in our home for a little while and it was time to get a new roof. I picked out the shingles. I made it match exactly what it looked like. The new roof was coming on that day and everything was going to look the same, just a new roof. Well, the HOA police came around, noticed them putting the roof on, and stopped everything and told me I hadn't asked permission, I hadn't turned it in, and I had no idea that I needed to do anything because I wasn't used to having an HOA. This was a long time ago. And it was so weird to me because I was like, it's gonna look the same, what's the problem? But you still have to turn it in and get approval. That was me as a new buyer years ago, not understanding really what an HOA meant. Here's some of the things you need to think about when it comes to HOAs. Can I park my truck, my trailer, my boat at home? Can I add a pool or a kitchen later? Can I rent out my home if my plans change? Do I need approval just to change the landscaping in my front yard? And if I need to touch up paint my house, do I need to get permission? And how active is the HOA at enforcing its rules? Some of these communities have great amenities. The pool, the clubhouse, the gym. And trust me, I am not telling you to avoid them because they're great. I'm asking you to do your homework to understand what the rules of the HOA are to make sure that you are comfortable with those rules. Okay, this next one you really don't want to skip, especially if you are picturing a walkable lifestyle. Austin genuinely has a walkable downtown core. It's gotten even better over the years. And there's a handful of neighborhoods like Mueller, Travis Heights, all the neighborhoods around South Congress. And there's a lot of others, and they carry that same feel. But that's the exception, not the rule. Most of the metro area is built around driving. Grocery stores, doctors, even a lot of great restaurants are going to be a drive away. And this is one of the first questions that I ask relocation clients because a lot of them come here wanting to have that walkability. Well, that's only going to be certain types of neighborhoods, and that's going to narrow your buying pool down a lot. If a car light lifestyle matters to you, then we're going to talk about that before we ever tour a house. Now, Austin has doubled in its economic output and grown in population over a third since 2010. And right now you can see that growth in many areas. I'm going to be talking about one that's near me, which is Dripping Springs. The highway to get you out to Dripping Springs, which is 290, is under construction and has been for some years now, especially in that 290 and Y and Oak Hill where it meets 71. And I'm going to be honest with you, the end result is going to be great. Better roads, more capacity, room for growth that's already happening. But if you buy in that area right now, you just need to understand that you're going to be living through this construction for a little while. That's not a reason to avoid it, but it is a reason to understand the completion timeline so you can set your expectations right. Now, I can say, because I drive through there a lot, it has improved so much over time, and now seeing what the end result's going to be, you will fly into Dripping Springs from Austin with no problem when this is all done. Now, everybody loves the bats at the South Congress Bridge. If you don't know about them, go check them out, but they are a major part of our city and they do a great job eating a lot of the insects for us. But just last week, I was out touring homes with a client and the lockbox, instead of being at the door, was on the side of the house. And I was wondering why, and it had been raining. And if you know Central Texas, ants come out after the rain. So while I'm unlocking the lockbox to get the key, I am looking down and I have 4 fire ants on my feet, biting me. On top of that, there were 3 wasp nests around the house. So we had to be very careful getting in and out of the house, not to get stung, number 1, and number 2, not to let them in the house. So trust me, I called that listing agent after we saw the house to let them know they need to go over there and fix that so other people don't deal with what we dealt with. Fire ants, wasps, bats under the Congress Bridge. That's the reality of Central Texas. We even have several snake species here. A lot of them are harmless, but we do have some venomous ones like copperheads and rattlesnakes. And those tend to hang out in yards that might be backing up to a green area near a creek. Now, none of this should scare you off. It just means you need to pay attention to what's going on in your yard if you're in one of those areas. Here's what connects all 6 of these things. None of them are deal breakers. They're just the kind of thing that you plan for instead of getting blindsided by it. I've lived here for a long time, and the clients who moved here and came to Austin, the ones that are the happiest are the ones that ask the most questions so that they understood exactly what they were getting into. So that is 6 more things you need to know before moving to Austin: the grid, the insurance costs, the HOAs, needing a car, ongoing construction, and the local wildlife. And if you're watching from outside of Austin, considering moving here and are needing a realtor in your area, I have a huge network. Reach out to me. I can help you find a really strong, great realtor to work with. If this video helped you, like and subscribe. I always like putting fresh content out about living in Austin, relocating to Austin, and buying and selling homes. And I will see you on the next video.